Hey guys, welcome to this Wednesday's video. I've never done a video like this before with one of my drawings. I've been drawing since 2020, so this video is pretty much just going to be me teaching you how I learned to draw realistic people. This one is of the Sturniolo Triplets. They've really inspired me this year to kind of like start my YouTube channel, and they're like one of the only YouTube channels that I watch that makes me like laugh. So there's that. Also they kind of like just got me back into YouTube as a whole, so very thankful for that. But anyways, this is the first time I've ever filmed my drawing process start to finish, so I've never really known before how long it actually takes me to draw people. But after putting the footage into Final Cut, literally, dude, this drawing took me 14 hours and 44 minutes to make. And that's kind of whack though, because like I've been working on this specific drawing maybe since like late December, but I obviously can't just like do it consecutively like in a straight day. So this has like been over the pan of like a month and a half. But yeah, I filmed every single time, and the angles in this video are gonna get a little weird because I used two different cameras in it. But anyways, I'll just like start talking about the actual drawing. So here I'm using a light pad. This probably looks a little bit weird, especially if you haven't drawn before. A lot of people think that like using a light pad is cheating, which I don't think it is. I think that especially if you're a beginner, using a light pad can be very helpful to just learn how to draw dimensions and everything. So like, because freehanding a person's face is very difficult at the beginning, and even though that's how I started, like I didn't even know about light pads or think about using one until I had already gotten pretty good at freehanding people. But then once I got the light pad, it really helped me develop that ability to just freehand drawings or like facial features and just, you know, the overall aspect of like the human face and body or whatever a lot better. So and then once I started using the light pad more, I realized that was able to help me figure out that my favorite part of drawing actually isn't creating like, you know, the outside of what their facial features are supposed to look like. It's the shading process and the coloring, whichever I'm doing in the drawing at the time. So by using the tracing method and the light pad, it really speeds up that process so that I'm just able to get to my favorite part. But yeah, basically how I do that is I'll print off the drawing that I want to draw, and I only have like a black and white printer, so I always have to use that. But what I'll do is I'll go in my iPad, my phone, whatever I'm printing it out of, and I'll usually go into the settings of the drawing and move. Hold on, I'm gonna go on my phone right now so I like actually know what I'm talking about rather than just talking out of my booty crack. Okay, so basically I'll go into the photo that I'm wanting to print, and I'll go to edit, like whether I'm on the iPad or the phone like I was talking about before, and I'll go down to where it says shadows, and I'll bring that all the way up, because if you're printing on black and white, the printer, when it prints it, all of the dark shadows in the photo are going to come out a lot darker than how it shows up on the photo from the, you know, device that you're using, obviously. So by bringing these shadows to 100%, then that's gonna allow like everything dark to just kind of like brighten up so that you're able to get a good example of like where you need to be drawing the lines for, like, let's say the eyes, the hair, like, you know, just like the facial features and everything, so you can get that right. Something you'll probably notice when you see me like flipping the page that I'm drawing on up, because I have the printed paper underneath it, you'll probably see like just then I had to draw a line on Chris's eye because I had to like define more of it, like where it is, so that it would show up better on the paper. And that happens a lot where I'm having to like draw over the paper that I actually printed just to define the line more, because depending what lighting you're in the room that you're drawing in, it can be a lot harder to see the printed paper underneath the light pad. So I try to like draw when I'm first starting a drawing. I try to draw at night just because I know I'm going to be getting that like basic tracing of the person that I'm drawing. And then once I've finally like gotten the dimensions of like everything that they need to look like body wise, but haven't like started coloring in or like shading in anything, then I will start to like just work on it throughout the day, like at whatever time I really feel like it. Because when it comes to like coloring and shading, if you're doing coloring, oh my gosh, if you're doing coloring, you better be in natural lighting, because if you change lighting all the time, your coloring is going to be so messed up. But anyways, we're not doing coloring here. We're doing shading. And shading doesn't really matter what lighting you're in. So I would be in the dark, I would be in direct sunlight. Literally doesn't matter. But when you're tracing to get those first steps of like the face, you want to be in complete darkness because the light pad is just going to show through a lot better. But you still probably will have to trace over the paper that you printed. So for actual drawing technique here, skin took me a very long time to figure out how to make look smooth, but basically what I'll do is I'll just take, sorry, I'm like having to like draw so that I have a better representation of what I actually do rather than just again talking out of my butt crack. That's just me moving the paper. So basically I'll take the pencil, I'll take the pencil and I'll just like, you don't want to hold it right at the bottom of like towards the lead because then you're gonna create really harsh marks and that's never good. You want to kind of hold it like where you see I'm holding it like either towards the end or like towards the middle a little bit. If you want really light strokes, you're gonna have to hold it towards the end and just do like kind of circular motions. But with skin, it can be very difficult depending on like how big of an area you're drawing because let's say like look at under Chris's eye on the right. Like that's kind of like a small area, so I would do like smaller, lighter circles or like and basically you don't want to start out dark either. You always want to go light first and then add the light on top of each other until, you know, it gets darker. But if we're looking at his cheek on the left side where he has kind of like that cheekbone indent there, those you don't necessarily want to do like little circles. You kind of want to do like long ovals, but like directly next to each other. You don't really want to overlap because then it's going to create that weird like spiral weird looking effect thing and nobody wants that in a drawing. So yeah, that's for skin. When it comes to the eyes, like you really just have to pay attention to the photo you're looking at and see like where the highlights are and everything and never start out just making the pupil pitch black because if you ended up not drawing the pupil like the right shape or anything and you already made it like pitch black, you're not going to be able to erase that. And then like even if you get all the other dimensions of the face right, like it's never going to seem like when you're looking at the picture once it's done, you're going to be able to tell that something's off and you're going to be like, I knew it was the eyeball, like I messed that up. So, and especially with me having OCD, like since I've started drawing, I've just like always wanted my drawings to be perfect and that's never going to be the case. Like I've really had to learn not to rely on getting my drawing to look exactly like the reference that I'm looking at, and you really shouldn't either because it creates a lot of extra stress that you don't need when drawing because it's supposed to be fun. So, but anyways, yeah, I've always been like pretty much a perfectionist, so that's another reason that I like the light pad because it leaves like no option for failure. That might sound a little bit bad, but you know, like I kind of like my drawings to look good and I think I used to feel like it was cheating. But then like I'm doing all of this shading by myself. Like it's not like anybody can help me with that or any tool can help me with that. So in the end, it's not cheating. It's just a little bit of help for me to get to my favorite part. I don't know why I turned British there. I'm sorry for the UK folks. Please don't get mad at me. But yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, fingers are so hard to draw, especially freehanding. Like freehanding fingers is like I don't even know how to explain it. They always end up looking like wonky French fries. Let me just tell you that. But here, the way that the paper printed, basically the bottom of Chris's hand or whoever's hand was on Matt's shoulder here, the fingers just like blended into the abyss of the darkness. So I couldn't really trace that from the paper that I printed underneath, nor could I like add lines or draw lines onto the actual paper because either way it wasn't going to be like a good representation of like where his fingers actually were. So I kind of just had to freehand that, which you know what, it ended up being up fine, but I did have to eventually blend those out into the darkness as well. And you're gonna see me like fix the fingers probably a bunch in this video and just like other facial features. There are definitely a few times where on Nick's face during this, I would be trying to like color his I guess his left cheek from the way that he's looking at the camera. Yeah, I'd be coloring his left cheek, but there's so many different like shades in in his face there that I just kept erasing it over and over again and starting over. So you're gonna see a lot of that. Don't pay too much attention to that. But you know, if you feel like you need to do that whenever you're drawing, go for it, because it's not gonna hurt you as long as you get it in the end, which you will, because it's just going to happen, I promise. Now, if any of you have been drawing for like a while and you know of like art tools and stuff, you might be thinking like, where are why I'm not using blenders right now, or just like, you know, why I'm literally not blending all these shadows. And the reason is because you always want to wait till the end of the drawing to do that, so that you actually get all the shadows like drawn in place first. Because also another thing is with those blenders, like a lot of the time you can clean them as much as you want, but like they always end up still having like black lead on it, and I feel like it's never very like smooth, and it's always like spotchy. I tried to say blotchy and spot at the same time, but anyway, splotchy, blotchy, whatever you want to call it. It's never like a smooth texture. Oh my god, you can literally see my face do that. I actually look like a baby. That's crazy. Anyways, back to the point. So when you use the blenders, like a lot of the times things end up splotchy, so you really don't want to rely on those for like, especially with lighter areas. You want to save those till the very end of the drawing, when you actually have all the shadows and things there. And I didn't even use the blender for like most of the features that I did on the triplets here, because in the reference photo, like some of their skin was more like patchy looking. That's no offense to you guys. Literally, I swear I'm not coming for you right now. That is just how the picture looks. There is nothing wrong with your skin, okay? But anyways, that's just how the picture looked, so that's what I did. With Matt's cheekbones, however, they did seem to be a little more blended out, which is why I decided to do that towards the end, and I'll probably talk about that whenever it comes up. But here, literally, I had the hardest time with his cheekbones, but like that's what I was most excited about to draw, because just like I love drawing like really defined things like that, and this boy has some very defined cheekbones, so that was very enjoyable to draw. But yeah, that was kind of hard to like map out though, whenever I was having to look at the reference photo underneath this with the light pad, because it was just like very hard to see, especially because if you look in the reference photo, which I'll put up, I'll probably put up every now and then in the video so you can like see what I'm talking about. But like there's no defined line in the cheekbone. Like if you look closely, it's all like kind of blended into the face, obviously, like it's all blended out into each other, so there was no line that I could just like create, so I had to do like the most accurate representation of like where I thought his cheekbone would end, and then I eventually like blended that out when the time came. Also, drawing lips is so like difficult, especially with like the cracks in them and if their lips are chapped, which again, I'm not coming for you guys. If the triplets see this, I swear everything that I'm saying about your face and your skin is not meant to offend you. I'm literally just looking at the picture, okay? But lips are very hard to draw, especially when they're like cracked or something, because just like drawing those little lines and getting it to look realistic can be very difficult, especially because a lot of the time those lines are very faint in the reference photos, and you need to do it just right for it to look good. So you can definitely have a hard time with that, but when you're drawing little lines like that, especially in hair, like you never want to do it super hard, because you still want the chance to like erase it if it doesn't look good, you know? And with hair, there's so much, I'll talk about hair when we get there, because I'm still learning about hair, and that's taken me like 3 years, and I'm still learning new tips every day. But again, with like drawing defined things, like I loved drawing his nose because it was the most well, actually no, it wasn't the most defined in this picture because it's head on. Like Chris and Nick have more defined noses just because they're at an angle. But this nose was very fun to draw. I don't know. I think it was more fun to draw Matt's face just because he was like straight on, you know, you had like all the definition of the cheekbones and the eyes and the nose and everything, and that's just like that's like more a lot easier to draw, and it's more fun for me. But you know, I also like the challenge of like drawing people's faces at angles, and that's something like I honestly have never tried to freehand somebody's face angled. Wait, I think I have, and I think I maybe did it once and it turned out very bad, and then I might have tried again and then it also turned out very bad. So I've just never done that, and I have a fear of like drawing people tilted with no reference photo or like nothing underneath for me to trace. But yeah, that's probably not good, but I'm gonna avoid that at all costs. So we're gonna be fine. So here's where I start getting Matt's eye more defined, and this was very fun. Like I love drawing eyes. I used to hate drawing eyes because I literally couldn't do it for the life of me, but you get better over time. And so I was just looking at the shadows here, and I think there is sometimes where I like erase them because there are some splotches where they're darker than others, and it sometimes you can literally be looking at the same picture for hours on end, and it will take you all of those hours to realize, oh my gosh, wait, it's kind of darker here than in this spot, and then you'll have to fix it, which has happened to me multiple times. But you know what? It's fine. It's all gonna be fine. That's literally my motto. It's just like me freaking out the entire drawing and just being like, it's gonna be fine. Trust the process is real, y'all. There have been so many times where I've like been through a drawing and been like, oh my gosh, this actually looks like ass. And then guess what? At the end, it doesn't look like ass. It looks like sparkly ass. That's what it looks like. Here's the thing. I'm aware my realistic drawings look realistic and that they don't look bad, but then I go on Instagram and I see this one artist and I just like I feel completely defeated and like I'm not good at anything, which I will put their like at up on the screen because I will not pronounce this right if I try, and I really don't want to be rude about it, so I'm not going to try so that I don't just like completely butcher it. But they are amazing. I literally every time I see one of their things on Instagram or TikTok, I'm just like, how does this not have more views and how are they not like absolutely famous? Because this is ridiculous. I have never seen somebody draw this realistically in my life, and I wish that I could do that amount of detail, but I actually have no idea how they do it. I'm surprised it's not magic. But okay, I have really never been much of like an art appreciator until I went to Paris last November, and I literally went to the Louvre, and like I'm not the type of person to like stare at a painting and be like, "Oh, yes, that was quite wonderful when they made that in the 1700s and he painted that with a paintbrush made of horse ass hair." Like I don't care about that stuff. Like if it's like pretty, like I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And then I'll like move on to the next one, you know? Like I don't want to be in there as much as any other like 5th grader. So but then I was in the Louvre and literally there was this one picture, or not picture, that's like offensive to whoever painted this. This painting was absolutely beautiful. It was of Napoleon's crowning in the Notre Dame and with his like empress or whatever, I don't really remember her name. But I walked up to that painting and I didn't realize how realistic this thing was before I walked up to it, stared at the cape that this empress was wearing. When I tell you my mouth actually dropped open, like this was ridiculous. I'm gonna have to put up a picture of this because like, and the thing is the pictures don't do it justice because you can't see how like realistic this actually is. Like I felt like I could have like stroked the cape. Like I felt like I could touch it and it would be soft and fluffy. It was like it was actually whack. But also I don't understand how back then people would do that where they could just like sit in the same spot for hours on end because like think about it. People that are in this painting, they're not just standing there for the painting the entire time. Like they've got to be it's not that they've got to be. They are moving. They're literally moving all the time. Like during a coronation, people aren't just sat still. Like there's like popes and priests and like all these fancy people moving around to get the crown on the king's head or whatever. So they're moving around the whole time. How does this painter just paint them all in the same position and just like does he just like picture that in his head and draw it from memory? Because that's like actually I feel like that's a mental condition and should probably get checked out, but like also that's like a talent and I wish that I had that. I don't know. Like it's actually crazy. Like I don't understand how people do that because see for me, if I want to draw a picture of something that's going on, I'm going to take a picture of it. Like I'm not just going to hold it in my head because they're going to end up looking like some wonky Oompa Loompas or like those things from Spy Kids, what, the Fooglies. That's what my imagination would create a real life scenario to be, which is quite scary, honestly. But I just like, I don't understand, but I think it's amazing and I wish that I could do that. So there's nothing too interesting or special about this clip here. I'm basically just drawing in the dark shades and the dark parts of the picture. Here, for technique here, pretty much just go light at first and just keep building upon those light sections until they get gradually darker. You never want to start just super harsh dark lines when you're coloring in something dark like that. Yeah, okay, so here's me moving on to Nick's face. Nick's face was a challenge. I'm not saying you're ugly, Nick. Nick, you literally all look the same and you're beautiful. So don't even this is the thing. Like I could be talking about how many challenges this picture of them gave me, and it's literally gonna seem like I'm like shitting on their looks the entire time, but I'm legit not. I'm like, it's just the way their faces are angled, okay? The Sturniolo fans better not come for me for this because I will actually cry. But yeah, so his face was a little like harder to do just because it wasn't as defined just because of the angle that his face was at. So like his right eye, or I guess, okay, so the eye that is closest to like Matt's face and Chris's face, that one was so dark in the picture that, especially in the one that I printed out, I could not for the life of me like get the lines to be correct, or like draw the lines for reference on the photo that I printed. So I really kind of had to like sort of freehand that. I kind of got where the eye was, but like with the shadows and everything, that was so difficult. Sorry, I'm literally talking so much, I'm like running out of breath. I have never talked this long. This is like a ginormous run-on sentence for me. Hold on, I gotta pause this. Anyways, yeah, I'm over my asthma fit. So, Nick's face was very hard to draw just because of like the shadows and everything. His mouth was the easiest part to draw for him. Oh, and this is what I was talking about earlier, where I would like start to draw this shadow on his left side of the face, and then I'm gonna end up erasing that. Yeah, like there I just erased half of it, because the way I was doing it, like sometimes when you try to draw skin, it just ends up looking like every other line is like darker than the other, and you don't want it to look like that. And again, you can't blend it until the very end of the drawing, so you really have to try and get it as close as you can, like in the beginning. And also, you might see me switching pencils whenever I'm doing their hair, because if you use a 6B or a B6 pencil, I don't know which order it goes in, but those are like the darkest lead pencils, and those are really good for like super dark shadows, obviously. And their hair is the darkest part of the photo, obviously, so that was good for that. But then I realized like this pencil that I'm using with like the blue gripper on it, that one I honestly don't know what kind of pencil it is. I got it at Hobby Lobby, so there's that. But that one and the B6 pencil, like they just weren't blending well together, so I ended up just switching straight to the to just using the blue pencil the whole time, which I think it was fine. I think everything turned out fine. But here's where I'm going in with the hair, and this is literally the hardest part of any drawing for me. I don't know about for anybody else, but I used to literally be the type to like just draw hair as like lines and make it look like straw, and it was absolutely nasty. But it's now I'm a lot better because I talked to my art teacher about it that I had in like junior year of high school. And so now I know like more tips, like if there's highlights in the hair, like how you'll see in Matt's. Also, sorry about the camera angle here. Like this sunlight was reflecting all over the lead and just making it super shiny and strange. But I didn't have another camera angle because I thought that this one was the best one, but I didn't realize that the vlog camera I had on the side was actually better. So you're gonna have to deal with this for just a little bit before it gets better, I promise. Just stick with me here. So but anyways, you can see like the white splotches in Matt's hair, and that's because like that's where the highlights are. And so basically you're don't just completely color those in black. Like you want to mark out where the highlights are before you start coloring in the hair, because it's going to be very hard to erase that once you've done that, kind of like how I was saying with like everything else. But yeah, so once you have those, you're basically just kind of gonna lightly create like strokes upwards and downwards, just wherever the hair is like being shown in the photo. So like I really don't know how to explain this. Hold on, I'm gonna try like a good way. Okay, so the best way I can say this is like if you just have like a white splotch like that and you need to create hairlines, just do light strokes upwards for like the hair meeting each other, because think about it, this is all one connected piece of hair, but it's just the way that the light is reflecting that's making it look like there's no hair in the middle. So what you're doing is you're going to create light strokes upwards, but don't make it connect all the way to the top, because what you're going to do is you're going to take the you're going to do the same light strokes upwards, except you're gonna also do it downwards from the top. So you're gonna do the light strokes going upwards and downwards from both the top and the bottom, but you're not gonna have them meet in the middle until like you've kind of built on those strokes. So it's going to be like, you're going to be doing it light and light at first, and then you're going to be doing like every other space like kind of darker than the other, because you don't want it all to be like one solid like color, you know? So now I'm pretty much almost done with the drawing. Like, I've done all the shadows and everything. With Nick's face, I procrastinated the neck quite a bit just because he had a chain that was quite difficult to draw, and I didn't have the time to like do it at nighttime, which was where I would needed to do it, because I needed to trace again and get the light pad on. But again, the light pad doesn't really work in bright daylight, so I had to wait until I had time at night. But literally, my school days have been actually crappy. Like, I have been at school every day till like 8 p.m. because it's at the end of basketball season, so I either have basketball practice or like a game. But I also, the days that I have basketball practice, I also have musical practice, and musical practice is before basketball practice. So I've literally been at school since 8 p.m. every day, and then I get home and I'm tired as crap and just want to go to sleep. So, but finally I did find the time to work on his necklace, and that's when I finished it. Finally, actually literally finished it yesterday. But actually probably not yesterday, because it's currently 12:53 a.m. and I have school tomorrow, but I'm also supposed to be uploading this video today. So what the crap? This is honestly turned into a drawing tutorial and a rant about my life. But you know what? You're gonna get both, because this is a package deal. But yeah. Anyways, back to the point. Almost done with this. This is where I bring in the I was about to call it a beauty blender. What the heck is this called? I guess it's just a regular blender. Chris's facial features, they actually weren't blended out here in the photo, but I thought they were, so that was kind of stinky for me to do, and I ended up going back in with it later, like here, and just kind of like scribbling back that like texture that's on his face, because he really didn't need to be blended out that much. But anyways, yeah, just adding some highlight to the lips and everything. It can be pretty hard sometimes to tell where the lips start and finish. So like the bottom lip, the top lip, even the line in the middle and the corners, that can be pretty hard to draw. And I would say that drawing lips and hair especially, those are definitely the hardest parts to draw because of the detail. So I actually didn't film this part, which is quite unfortunate, but at the top of Chris's head, you can pretty much see these like, you know, these white streaks, and that is because I erased parts of his hair where it looked like there were highlights in it. So basically what I'm going to do there is the same thing that I did for those highlights at the top of Matt's hair. So yeah, I'm just going to be doing that, but you can erase, was that just a picture of my feet? What the crap? Anyways, we're going to ignore that. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can erase like really dark areas sometimes. If you haven't like completely pressed your pencil lead into the paper and just like gone over it lightly and lightly until it's been super dark, you can still erase that, but you have to press very hard with the eraser, and that's why I have one of these eraser pencils. And I also, yeah, there I added the highlight on Nick's hair. And okay, I like every time I say their name, I pause for a second. I swear I know who they are. I just like, I'm having major amnesia right now. But anyways, maybe it's, no, I can't say that. I was about to say maybe it's early onset dementia, but then I remembered my grandma had dementia and she's currently not here with us anymore, so that's probably offensive. But oh yeah, and then here's where I was talking about the necklace. How do I just move on from that fast? Anyways, here's the necklace that I procrastinated for the longest time because I just didn't have time to do it. But basically, I had to use the light pad here to like figure out the exact spots or where the little like sparkly parts of the chain were shining through. So that's me just like circling them and everything. And I had to erase this a bunch of times because I wanted to get it perfect, because my OCD just is trying to kill me and won't leave me alone. But yeah, and you can, if the thing is, if you have a spot that you erased and think is good, and then you like end up, you know, just doing whatever you need to do with it, whether that means like kind of shade it in a little bit more, and then you decide that it's not good anymore, if you keep erasing that spot over and over and over again, it's gonna end up taking the lead from like the areas around it or the lead that's just left over on your eraser, and it's going to make that white spot darker and darker every time you erase it, which kind of defeats the point of the eraser, but like it happens. So that happened to me in this case. Usually you want to try and get it like pretty much perfect the first try or the first couple tries whenever you're doing a tiny spot like that, especially with how small those little like diamonds are on the chain or whatever they are. But if in case you aren't able to, get it perfect the first time, which I'm sure a lot of people are not able to, I definitely am still not able to, that's when a white pen comes in and you're just going to want to like blop that on. But we're going to get to that in a second. Here, I was so nervous about doing these little like spots on Nick's face just because some of them you couldn't see in the paper that I printed out, but you could see them in the photo, and I didn't want to like get rid of them because like skin is skin is beautiful, everybody has blemishes, it really doesn't matter. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do my best to represent Nick the way that he is, because there's nothing wrong with having acne, guys, everybody has it. It'd be actually so bad if those weren't even acne spots and those were just like I don't know, beauty marks or something, and I'm just over here completely insulting him. I should really look at a picture of him like in color before posting this so I don't just completely embarrass myself on the internet. I'm so afraid that they're gonna like see this and think that I'm just like insulting the crap out of them, which again, not the case. Just wanted to draw you guys because, inspirations or whatever. But speaking of those inspirations, they're all done. Oh my gosh, this literally, again, took me 14 hours and 44 minutes. I did really, the only like consistent amount of time that I spent on this, probably max like 3 hours maybe at a time. So it didn't feel that like daunting on me, I guess. Until I got a heavy work overload at school, then I just kind of wanted to kill myself. But we're gonna like ignore that and just be happy with the end product. And there it is next to the photo, the reference photo. And then I'm gonna have a picture of it in the daylight, which I have to take today. So here's the finished drawing. This drawing was really fun to make and also a challenge at the same time because I've never drawn this many people in one drawing, nor have I drawn a picture this dark. So there was a lot of challenges that came with it, but in the end it turned out really well, I think, and it was just a fun process. I took this picture of it in natural lighting, which is the best you can do for taking a picture of any drawing. You can do like studio lighting, but I just always like how natural lighting looks more. So on the right here also, if you're interested in following my art account on Instagram, it's just Melon Draws. Every time I draw something new, I just post about it, and yeah, it's literally just an art account, so that's pretty much what you expect from an art account. I don't post very much because drawings take a very long time, so obviously it's not like I'm posting every day. But yeah, if you're interested in that, please follow, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was fun for me to make. I've never done like a voiceover like this, nor have I filmed my entire drawing process, so this was really crazy but fun to do. It's kind of giving me like podcast vibes too, although I don't think I would ever have the energy to start a podcast, nor would I know what to talk about. But anyways, yeah, I hope you liked it. I post every Wednesday on my YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I think, whatever time Florida is in. And Sturniolo Triplets, if you're watching this, first of all, I'm sorry if it sounded like I was insulting you the whole time. Again, like for the probably like 500th time in this video, I literally was not. You guys have inspired me so much and really got me to restart my dream of like just having a YouTube channel. It's something that I wanted to do since I was little, but never stuck to it. So this year I'm really trying to push myself to actually stick to it because it's something that I love. So thank you guys for that. And I wish you all the success because you guys are super funny and I think you guys are going to do great things. Well, thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye!